he lost a bunch of money.
Holy shit.
Recently he's been talking about it?
Oh, yeah, dude.
So wait a second. There's a new motive coming out for the Vegas shooting just recently?
Hey,
Just
Pasta,
like yesterday, wasn't
it? There's a Ben Rubenstein down here.
All
I
right.
don't know if you want to bring him in. I guess we owe him $1.
We do, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you today on the show live. This is the third time he's at the link, but the first time he's actually jumping in. One time he could have been live in the studio. Ladies and gentlemen, a thin, skinny Ben Rubenstein is with us. Holy shit, look how skinny he is, Steve.
Wow, you're looking svelte there, my friend. Svelte.
Woo.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How are you guys? How's Vegas, Steve?
You know what, man? I don't hate it. I don't. I really don't. I don't drink and I don't gamble. So there's, a handful, like the two absolute things that are going to get you totally fucked. And I don't do, fucking stupid drugs. So like all of the things that are going to get you hemmed up or fucked up in Vegas, I don't do. I love live comedy. I can go see it pretty much whenever I want to. I'm going to go see Ryan Long tomorrow night at Wise Guys. Nice. So if anybody's watching in Vegas, I think there's still tickets. They're like $25. Grab them if you can. Come hang out. And then, if I want, my kids are here. So if I could sneak out at 1 o'clock in the morning, I'll go down to the South Point and catch like an hour of free comedy at the Dirty at 12:30. Because the Smash Brothers are there tonight, and I've never seen their shtick, and I don't, why the fuck would you not pull up for that for free?
Right, totally. That's the best thing about Vegas. There's always something to do for free.
This is the interesting show you kind of jumped into on a Friday. Chris from Randcast is here. Rained Out Randcast. It's actually rained out today where he's at, so he's hanging out. Chris, This is Ben Rubenstein. Ben Rubenstein is one of my friends from the anti-imperialist leftist movement. He's actually in Nicaragua, and we kind of, go out, and that's our line of work of what we do. But it's very interesting because Ben is also, he's got his head with like where a lot of us are that are in that community where we're hanging out with handsome people like yourselves. Is it proper, Steve, to call it the truther community? When people ask me what it is, they're like, is that an alt-right community? I'm like, no.
Yes, we are alt-right, racist, misogynist, white.
I believe we're mostly right.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. You know me in labels, dude. I hate that shit. I do. I don't. If there's,
is it crazy they like weaponize the word right?
Yeah.
Like, being right is wrong.
I don't know, man.
Make sure it's on. I don't know if
my
your computer.
No, he's fine.
Me?
Your microphone, Steve.
Oh,
my mic checks out too.
Steve?
At least it has every other time.
It's low. Yeah.
No, it's it's up 100% on the audio settings. Nobody else in the chat's telling me I'm quiet. Yeah. I don't know.
Fucking raining again.
Move it a little bit like that, but I mean, I can spike the volume on it on the audio settings here. I don't.
It sounds wonderful to me, Steve.
Yeah. It might just be you. You do have an AARP card in the mail.
Damn, dude.
It might just be one of those things. He tried to say I was 48. I'm gonna give him shit for the rest of the show.
How old are you, Steve?
I will be 45 tomorrow. I will be. But we're not on the air, so I'm doing my birthday show here today.
Well, you carry that 45 well.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. I do. What are we fucking? The Vegas thing, the Vegas shooting.
Yeah, the Vegas motive. He lost a bunch of money, so he was angry at the casinos, and he killed a bunch of people.
Let's go to that.
The end.
That's bullshit.
Well, we know that's bullshit, but it's like
that's what they're coming up with now.
It's such a convenient.
Yeah, that's what but they're not going to produce any videos of him losing a bunch of fucking money and storming out of the,
Right.
ridiculous.
Here we go. Stephen Paddock, who
he was angry for being comped.
Harvest Festival, was angry because he lost 20 grand at a casino. And so he needed to hurl.
Did I show you guys the pocket of gravity video on here once?
The what?
The pocket of gravity from NASA. Did I ever show you that video?
I don't know.
Because anytime I see this shit, it's like the same reaction. Get the fuck out of here. Like, get the fuck out of here. There's a video where they're in space and he's holding a hammer and a playing card. And he goes, you know, in space, we're weightless. And he lets go of the hammer real quick. And he goes, but every once in a while, there's a pocket of gravity. Fuck you, dude. How the fuck would you know where the pocket of gravity is at 17,500 and something fucking miles an hour? Wouldn't you be scared that you would slam against the fucking wall at any point, or the ground, or wherever the fuck you're at any point from your pocket of gravity? How retarded do you think we are? That's how I feel with this story. Go on, Steve.
It's Doug Henning. It's magic.
Fucking magic. It's ridiculous. You got invisible bullets.
This is about Vegas.
Motives, and pockets of crap.
Yeah. So, okay. Stephen Paddock, 64, a regular gambler who had a penchant for video poker, killed himself at the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino before he could be apprehended. Documents provide the most detailed look to date into Paddock's possible motive and gambling habits, delving into the weeks and years before he fired from his 32nd floor windows into a crowd. 22,000 people. We all know that you don't count the 13th floor. So if you did, that would place it at.
Y'all know the windows weren't broke out, right?
They were not broke out.
I mean, Shep's got that one video, the body cam, where the cops are like, the windows ain't broke out. And the fucking one reassures the cop, too. He's like, yeah, dude, they're not broken.
Yeah.
It's video evidence, but people are like, nah, that's not real. Or wait, it's the frame rates. The frame rates are too high.
A fellow gambler
messes up the dialogue with the frame rates.
It does.
Yeah.
Notorious.
They're saying, oh, the window's broke out, dude. But the frame rates made them say the window's not even broke. You know, it adds words. It's messed up. They're still working on the technology, you know, but you know, they got robots and stuff to work.
Yeah, they're gonna release a fucking deep fake for all this shit. They are. A fellow gambler told the FBI that Paddock was very upset at the way casinos were treating him and other high rollers, noting that roughly 3 years earlier, casinos started banning high rollers from certain events, hotels, and even casinos. Gambler described Paddock as a high roller with a bankroll of approximately 2 to 3 million who preferred playing video poker, which is
the dumbest fucking thing to put your money into.
Which is, of course, why, gentlemen, he, with his $2 to $3 million bankroll, went on the largest mass shooting killing spree in U.S. history, unloading round after round from a bump stock, which Donald Trump banned after this, into a crowd of unsuspecting concert goers. Now, I've had bad days where I've made bad life choices that have resulted in me losing some money. And I have considered making other bad choices as a way to recuperate these losses. I don't feel like I'm alone in this. I feel like other people could relate to being in a situation like that. I am also a firearms enthusiast. However, I have never once had it enter into my head that I should take suitcase after suitcase after suitcase through the service elevator to the 32nd floor, where I've rented not one but 2 rooms that connect. Go ahead.
Well, when did he lose the $22,000 or whatever?
Well, let's see if it's mentioned in the
because you're saying that this guy lost the money, had to stew on it, had to pack up all these fucking guns. You know, he's rich, right? He's rich. The dude was rich. He had airplanes and shit. He was making gun deals already, you know. But he had to pack up all this fucking shit, and then he had to fucking take it you know, and then he had to carry it up the fucking thing. And yet there was a lot of time in this to go, you know what?
Okay, so in 2006, he
quit playing.
gambled nearly $1 million and came out with roughly 4,300 in winnings.
That's a tough break.
That's a tough break. Do you stew on that for 11 years before you open fire?
11 years. They helped him carry the guns out. Wouldn't you think in that moment you'd be like, you know what? Maybe I'm just being an asshole. I should quit playing the video poker. You know what? I seen that 1-800 gambling number. Maybe
I should pick up the phone.
But it's easy because they go with these things. People run with this shit. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing is like when you were saying, even though you're telling people the truth, you know, Chris, it's just like you can't handle the truth. They don't want the truth. They want their confirmation bias. By the way, guys, we need, when Chris comes on the show, we need fucking A Few Good Men sound clips, because he was also saying about something the wall. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. We need clips when Chris comes on. We got to get ready. A Few Good Men. But you know, they don't want the truth. They want their confirmation bias at the end of the day, because they've already picked their position, and that's getting rid of all the fucking guns, and they're gonna save, you know, that's it. And they'll repeat the stupid lines. You know, Massey got in fucking Bauman's face. He goes, you know, there's never been one shooting at a school where the teacher's been armed with that. You want more guns at a school? What are you, crazy? It's almost like the mask thing. Of course masks work. It's stupid not to think they work.
You think they went behind, you know,
they get their confirmation bias and they go running with it.
You think those guys went in the lunchroom after the break room or whatever? There's got to be a break room in there, right? Or something.
Oh, yeah.
And then they were like, damn, dude, that line you said about the fucking, you know, you want more, you really fucking sauce that up, dude. Like, I mean, you should get a fucking Academy Award, but I mean, we can't tell anybody this, you know, but
if that situation, and I do believe those situations occur, but I do think it's a little bit more along the lines of, motherfucker, you almost made me laugh.
Yeah, I mean, this is like people has never watched WWF or anything, you know, like
it's never watched totally real. Paddock,
and they find out they're at the bar.
Okay, so another woman gets interviewed at the Tropicana, which I'm also pretty sure was one of the casinos that had a shooting that night. There were multiple casinos that had shootings that night. I have a great show that I did with Charlie Robinson a year or so ago on this. Very, 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 very thorough. Paddock only wanted to discuss gambling. Oh, yeah.
They were evacuating Saudis. It was crazy. It was a wild night.
Okay, so he lost 38 grand. Lost 38 grand, and that pushed him over the edge.
Okay.
But
I'm surprised
none of the other major losses.
And say, you know, his brother's, you know, pedo addiction he got from the casino, so he was upset about it or something, you know. You know, because his brother was busted as a pedo, you know, with all the pedo shit.
Yeah. In 2018, Las Vegas Sheriff Joe Lombardo said that a 10-month investigation by the department resulted in no evidence of conspiracy or a second gunman and no definitive motive for the shooter. That guy, by the way, Sheriff Joe Lombardo, who we all saw in that first press conference where he talked about two gunmen, where he got interrupted by the FBI agent who whispered into his ear. And we immediately said, and the FBI is taking over this investigation. We're done here. And walked away. Well, he's the governor of the state now.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like a fucking made-for-TV movie that should be played right after Ellen, after what's-his-face goes on there and talks about how he fucking saved everyone, but didn't, and doesn't really, like, what the fuck? What was that guy's name?
Ooh.
The Mexican guy? You don't know the Mexican, the bodyguard, or not the bodyguard, but the guard or whatever, the security guard?
Oh, at the Mandalay?
Whatever it was, you don't know who I'm talking about? The one who fucking took off to Mexico, then came back, appeared on Ellen, did no interview except on Ellen, had a handler with him, right, sitting on the fucking couch.
Yep.
Answered the questions that they had prepared, and then Jose went away.
Yep. Vaya
like,
con Dios.
Fucking crazy. Like, they just keep doing the same shit over and over and over and over and over and over. Like, I think they call it a MO, right?
A number of years ago, like when I was first starting to do Slow News Day, I had a John Kiriakou on the show. It was a CIA whistleblower. He disclosed the torture program, did like 30 some months in federal prison, and now writes with Consortium News, a couple other things, has a book out, something.
Showing our teeth.
But I was like, hey, man, I forgot. That's right, he does. I was like, hey, why is it always the same playbook? You know, why is that? You would think that
They're
at some
demons.
point
They have no imagination.
Well, he goes, well, they're really not as clever as people give them credit for, and there's never any accountability. So those two things combined make for no reason.
And we're dumber than people want to believe. The majority.
Yeah.
I'm generalizing. I'm not saying we are dumber. I'm just saying.
And I don't even know if it's dumber, disengaged.
Disengaged. That's better for it. Yeah.
You know, and there's a combination or disillusioned, or a combination of all three put together.
It's like it's stuck in this slumber. Like I was having this back and forth with my buddy about this shit, and like he keeps thinking like he keeps saying shit like I'm a right winger or some shit, and it's like, dude, you're not understanding.
You
have this cognitive dissonance, right? And it means no disrespect. It's you have this, like, I can show you to your face evidence. Like he was arguing that Trump in his mind is guilty. That's it. Doesn't matter. He will vote for whoever he has to make sure Trump never gets in office. And it's like, dude, that mentality is like, I would never want you to be a leader of anything if you have that type of mentality of like, I don't give a shit. If Trump's guilty, throw the fucking prison on top of him. I don't give a fuck, right? Like Biden has a whole fucking laptop, 500 plus fucking crimes on the motherfucker, right? And you want to talk about a phone call that you're telling me is out of context. You're just telling me the one line that because of that, this man deserves to be in prison. Which you can't be in prison. The Secret Service, they can't feed them too. That's ridiculous. But like, it's this disconnect. And he even told me, he's like, you know, after, I mean, it was this long back and forth, but he said, yeah, I mean, you're kind of right. You know, it's just nobody wants to know this shit, you know? Nobody wants to, like, they have their own lives. They have work. They have, you know, some people have kids. Most people have kids, you know, and I think it was Alex Jones that said it once that nobody fucking wants to be told they have cancer. Yeah. And we have a cancer, a rot in this country that is rotting us from the inside out, and it starts on the Hill. You know, I mean, that's where it's at. And they've again, back to Jones, you know, I mean, he named it 25 years ago, InfoWars, and it's a war on for your fucking mind. And it is 100% a war on for your mind. And that's, I mean, look at Nashville. This is what puzzles me with Nashville. I know that Nashville, this is by design to distract from, you know, what we were talking about earlier with BRICS, with even the Biden shit, you know, with what James, is it James Comer? That keeps going on TV and saying, hey, man, like, yo, we have all this stuff, you know, we have all this evidence and nobody fucking gives a shit. And you have the fucking Trump indictment is more distraction to, again, try to get these two groups to collide. Because if they collided in a way that we haven't seen before, what happens at that point? What authority are they going to attempt to rain down on us? And then it also distracts from the Restrict Act.
Yeah.
And, you know, and these people, whether anybody wants to believe it or not, they're occultist fucking like they're into some sick shit, some fucked up shit. They do these things, these ritualistic things. I mean, look at the shooting was when these planets were aligned, you know, the 33s in it alone. The address is 33, the 33 fucking, I don't even want to go into the fucking numbers.
Bro, I don't think we ain't. All right. I mean, it's
just like, what?
Done been.
The numbers just made me lose my train of thought on that rant. That train just went off the fucking rails.
You want to just kind of sit there and go, okay, well, obviously there's some wild shit going on somewhere else that we're not supposed to be looking. They have hit us with every possible distraction. I'm gonna give a nod to our good friend Ryan Christian, Last American Vagabond. Every time somebody's like, "Who do you mean they? Who's they?" And so there, he has an acronym for it, and it's the hierarchy enslaving you.
Okay, that works.
It's the hierarchy enslaving you. That's who we're talking about. They all have names. We talk about them all the time. Yeah, this isn't nebulous or confusing.
I just call them the ones on the hill, man. I mean,
sure. And that works too. It does. But I mean, it's, you know, they've hit us with every possible distraction under the sun. Man, they have.
Including the sun now.
Right, including the sun.
Like they hit us with the kitchen, everything in the kitchen sink.
Right? Train derailments. Everywhere. There's gallons.
Now barges rolling in the river. People fucking fighting over water. Right? Yeah. Meanwhile, Walmart Realty, if nobody knows that exists, they have bought all the water under the ground. You know how you see these articles saying, hey, guys, there's an entire layer of water. As above, so below. We have an atmospheric river that we've never heard of until recently, right? So we have a river above us, and oh, guess what? We have a river below us. What the fuck? Oh, and by the way, Walmart Realty has pretty much bought up every fucking bit of it. They've went through with LiDAR, and they've went through with ground penetrating lasers to find every fucking reservoir of fresh water in the United States of America and buy them up. Camilla DeVille told us that the next war was going to be over water. They have made water a commodity. They are trading water. And now to find out that Walmart Realty, again, the shoes, those shoes had flames on it. It was fucking crazy, man.
It's so funny too, because I know that, like, so I just got back from Cuba, right?
Yeah.
And Cuba's moving away from their traditionalist communist system. It really hasn't gotten a lot of play, but they're going for 24 industries which can be privatized in the 25 areas in which the private market's in, which is nothing, and they're going to expand to 222. And they're asking the Russians to come in to help with markets, and that's that kind of like free market socialism, which I'm kind of a big part of. I mean, that's what I want, you know, right now. I want us to always be working towards an anarchist system down the road, but obviously until these crazy bastards are done and taken out, you know, because I don't believe they'll ever let us rest. That's what I'm looking for. But water is one of those things where I have arguments where I say, okay, this is why I'm more of like a market socialist guy. I believe if we have fair elections that we can have actual civil servants from where the state can be very representative of the people. I've seen that in South and Latin American countries. I definitely saw it where Ben's at, where Nicaragua is, where they like that government there. They trust that government. They trust Evo in Bolivia. And water is one of those things where I'm always like, you know, no corporations should be allowed to own it. I'm sorry. I don't want Nestle owning our water. And now I know I will get shit from some of my friends in this group who are like, well, the state owning it is just as bad, if not worse. I don't know about that. That is a quagmire. But that is why I've always kind of pushed for like trying to fix the election system, because I believe what's needed is to get real civil servants. And if we can get real civil servants, then maybe we have a shot. However, I don't want the state owning too much. I'll pass it to you right now, Steve. I want free markets to exist because I know people want to trade freely, own shit, own businesses. I own my own fucking business. Why should I tell people they shouldn't? Go ahead, Ben.
I just, the discussion about like whether it's worse for the state to have, ownership of the water or not is an interesting one to me, at least in developing countries, because, like a country like Nicaragua, not most places have water, but that's only like running water. That's only something that's occurred in the past decade or two. So to make that a conversation about ownership as opposed to the government is responsible for the entire country actually having access to that water is interesting because, without the government here, people just wouldn't have water at all.
Yeah.
Anyway, stand still with that one. It's
finding out
quagmire all the time you talk about it. It's like,
finding out like you said, Nestle, and now finding out about this Walmart Realty, which I'm assuming is like some subsidiary of fucking BlackRock or some shit.
Probably.
Like they're running around buying up all the fucking groundwater because there was the backlash against Nestle going in and drinking it up the milkshake with a straw thing. They're fucking going in there and just stealing people's fucking water and selling it back to them. People kind of got in an uproar about it. So Walmart just goes around and we'll just go around, just buy it all for pennies on the fucking dollar at the moment. And we'll just wait because they're causing a drought, they're blaming it on, anyways.
Well, and then you have California who gets hammered with more rain and snow than they've had in forever. Because
the atmospheric river, this new atmospheric river that has popped up and is above us and is raining down.
Atmospheric river.
What's that?
What is an atmospheric river? I mean, beyond the self-explanatory aspect. Could you explain that to me?
It's new speak for the rainy season.
Okay. Very scientific,
but we're supposed to be super scared now.
Right, because there's a river that might fall on our heads at any moment.
In actuality, they can go around and they can cloud seed and they can make it flood whenever they fucking want, and that is fucked up. I mean, they did it in 2011 with the Missouri River, and they're gonna do it again up there. And when they do that, and one of those dams collapses, it'll be the most catastrophic thing ever seen in the United States of America.
It's interesting to me that people constantly treat obviously I hear these jokes all the time because I'm Jewish that there's like geoengineering, people are controlling the weather, but it's interesting to me that so many people are so skeptical of that because like rain is literally just moisture in the air. It's not difficult to create. Anyone can do that. Not anyone. I mean, anyone can do it, but like on a grand scale, sure, you need military grade equipment. But,
to get it to fall is what they're doing. Yeah. The moisture's always in the air. That's the river part. That's the above below part. I mean, the water is in the atmosphere. The atmosphere is water. It's getting it to fall. And they have a way. They've had it since 1962. There's a weathermodification.com. If you go to that, they've been in business since 62. They've been, trailing clouds and getting the water to then fall out of the sky. And they have machines they can put on mountains and they can get it to snow. They can get it to rain. They also, NASA also has two rocket testing sites, one in Montana and one in Mississippi, both on the Mississippi, one on the Missouri River and one on the Mississippi River. And when they fire up these tests, they put out massive clouds, and those clouds go up and then they just collapse. And they can do that over and over at the bottom of the Mississippi, which they cut the dredging budget for about 10 years ago in half. It's probably even more now. So they can't even dredge the mouth of the Mississippi and get the water out of there. So when you do have these heavy rains and you end up having these late heavy snowfalls, which then basically flash thaw, that's when you get these massive floods. They call them 500-year floods, but they're happening more and more and more. And you have the Army Corps of Engineers, right? If they don't just engineer bridges, they engineer floods. They engineer ways to reclaim the natural flow and state of the river to save animals, the pallid sturgeon, the storks, and stuff like that. And they even tell people that you're going to be flooded over and over and over and over. And the Missouri River is dangerous. There's 6 dams on the Missouri River that are all made with dirt, and they hold more water than the Great Lakes combined. And if one of them fails, it will domino and it will knock out every fucking city down the Missouri River. And if it makes the bend at Kansas City and it can get to St. Louis, it'll go down the Mississippi. It will be the most catastrophic thing that has ever happened in the United States. It'll cut the United States in half, literally. You won't be able to get from one side to the other because the Missouri River, when Lewis and Clark did their thing, allegedly, but the Missouri at points where I'm from was 10, 15 miles wide from bluff to bluff. You know, it was only about 10 foot deep at its deepest. Now in the middle where I'm from, it's about 20 feet. It's a raging river. And yeah, I mean, these dams are 50 plus years out of date.
Yeah.
And we had these floods where houses come down and they slam into the spillways and they've cracked the 100-year-old concrete multiple times on these things. And when one fails, it's and people will laugh at what I'm saying, like, oh, that can't. Yeah, and it's engineered.
The infrastructure is crumbling already.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean,
Well, and that's
saying they can't make new dams without getting those out of the way anyways. And just the cataclysm that would happen would be just so catastrophic.
Basically, you're saying we're fucked.
No, I'm not saying we're fucked, but we could
we're going
be.
to balkanize the U.S.
If something like that were to happen, which I think it's not, it is a win situation on that one. Like, when is it going to happen? It'll be one of the most fucking devastating things in the world. I mean, definitely the United States, but I mean, it'll cut the United States in half. It's crazy.
I wanted to go over some of this stuff with Matt Gaetz and AFRICOM because I know Steve's talked about this for quite some time, and Steve's partner, Glory Jones, talks a lot about AFRICOM. Well, used to.
No, we were talking about it. I did not necessarily. Well, no, we talked about it some last Sunday. We will talk about it more this Sunday because we have Corey Morningstar giving an entire presentation on Slow News Day this Sunday. Floor's going to be hers for as long as she wants to. She was supposed to present at a conference in London via Zoom last week. They gave her 15 minutes. She has a 142-page PowerPoint on the left case against the WEF, and nobody else is talking about this the way that Corey has been.
You said the left case against the left?
The WEF, the World Economic Forum. Okay. She's trying to show people who these NGOs are that back all of these limited hangout green groups that are trying to usher in the fourth industrial revolution on the backs of child labor in the Congo, on the backs of coups for copper and lithium, and so she's trying to get that out there. They gave her 15 minutes to do it at the London thing. She got a hold of me immediately afterwards and said, hey, would you mind if I, came on you and Glory's show to give this presentation because it really needs to be heard. And it takes more than 15 minutes. And so I love me some Corey Morningstar. And of course I said yes. And so that'll be this Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. It'll be the Corey Morningstar show for as long as she wants it to be the Corey Morningstar show. And then we'll go on with the rest of the day.
Just finishing up too on the geoengineering part of the show too as well. Ben and I are in this anti-imperialist chat, And if you can imagine, these are these like old school leftist anti-imperialists who are involved in all that shit. So I did mention something about, being dry and whatnot. And Ben had my back and goes, Israel's doing all that shit. And what I did was I immediately
I was trolling, but yeah.
You had my back. I was happy. But what I do is I like kind of leaned on people's soft spots, knowing that they're like, very much pro-Iranian. I put up a clip of Ahmadinejad complaining at a conference that Israel was using geoengineering along with the Americans.
Was it the New Horizons conference?
Yeah, I was like, all right, guys. And I think people are like, welcome to my world. And I think they were like, oh, shit. Like, one of those things.
Well, while we have you here, Ben, will you apologize on behalf of the Jews for the weather machine?
Yeah, I mean, and the space laser, actually.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I wasn't going to bring it up, but now that you have, I accept your apology on behalf of Gentiles everywhere.
Ben is now doing some work with African Stream, and it is pretty amazing. We played a clip yesterday from one of those cobalt mines in the Congo where they were just pulling people out. Chris, you got to see that. We'll send you that clip.
Video was crazy.
No, I seen that. Where that mine's collapsing. Yes. Because what they're doing is someone described it as biblical slavery, or not biblical slavery, but biblical work. I mean, it is slavery. They're getting like fucking pennies. Like they're not even getting anything, are they?
Those mines are not legal. Basically, I mean, I don't know about Congo, but in the past here in Nicaragua, what's happened is that like mines will be closed, and then like the experts who are working on those mines will return after and sort of turn them into makeshift mines, and it's incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
And obviously
there's that video of the one.
They're risking their lives to find little pieces of gold. It's a horrible situation. Obviously, that gold goes to like our smartphones and stuff.
The one in China, they said it was China that collapsed. Did you guys see that one? All those trucks and stuff at the bottom of it, and that whole mine collapses. I mean, buries them, gone. It's literally like, I think how some cities, ancient cities and shit, they're just gone. That's it. They're not going to go dig into that to find those people. Like, and those things are buried in time too, which is weird. Those trucks, those people are literally, boom, they're buried in time. If somehow later on someone is able to dig down in there, and how often has something like that happened?
Well, these mine collapses happen all the time.
Yeah. Oh, damn, it froze up.
I think so.
Look at that smile he froze up on too. Great.
What's the possibility then? Oh, he's back. I think I saw. There's movement. We have movement. So, could that explain multiple different sunken cities, lost cities, that kind of thing?
Well, that's what I was trying to say.
Are there Mayan pyramids under the jungle that we don't even know about?
Oh, there is. They already said that there's like how many different cities in the jungle because they ran that LiDAR over it. But like Graham Hancock, when I listened to him on Rogan once, I've listened to him multiple times. The one when he's tripping with Mike Tyson, that was funny. But the Rogan thing saying, these guys will excavate when they find something, and that's it. They never go below it, and now we're finding you go deeper, and there's shit below that, 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 because this is a cycle. We live on a clock, we live on a clock, and things happen that are not good. At times,
we're talking about things not good.
Things that wipe us the fuck out. Few of us survive. This happens over and over and over.
Yeah, well, a man got killed from a fungal infection in the U.S. So
yeah. Now we got The Last of Us is happening. What's the odds? The number one TV show, the opening scene. The opening scene, he talks about the very thing that could actually make a zombie apocalypse. All the bullshit movies they show, no. But a fungus, because it actually exists in nature, they go, nah, it's not possible unless the temperature were to rise. And then the
What a
show ends, and
coincidence.
it's like, now there's a fungal infection. But don't worry, it's not The Last of Us. Yes, it is caused from the climate change and the temperature rising, but don't worry, the zombie apocalypse isn't coming. Oh, this man bit this other guy's face off, and oh shit, he had a fungal infection.
What happens if the fungal infection catches COVID?
That's a good question. I mean, that's
Gotta
some
wear a
science
mask.
that people should
Needs to wear
fucking
a mask.
figure out. Yeah.
Take a lot of vitamin
I don't know. I
D.
mean, I think the fungus spores will get through the mask.
The COVID.
I have a
zombies will
syringe
come and
with
just
some,
put a mask on. Just put a mask
some
on. It's gonna be
some psilocybin fucking spores, and I can't even see those spores in that syringe. So I think they might make it through the mask.
So talking about bad shit that's going on, since Brett has been working now on African Stream with our good friend Ahmed, and we'd love to get Ahmed on the show. You know, he's always got an open invitation. Met Ahmed in Nicaragua during that election. It was amazing. He also did some great stories in Bilway. You know, Ahmed did a great story in Venezuela when shit was going on. He actually showed like the bullshit that they were trying to spin on the one.
He was right there on
they
that.
were trying to smuggle in weapons, and they're trying to act like they were smuggling in food. And like, look at the Venezuelan government. They're starting shit. They won't let food come in the country. That was some of Ahmed's work. Well,
Yeah, he was there with Max. He was telling me that story the other day.
Yeah, yeah. Let's take a look at this here. This is an AFRICOM, right? Well, not AFRICOM. I mean, this is questioning the command, African Command, AFRICOM, about what's going on in Africa. It's a little 5 minutes of Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz has also now introduced a war resolution using the War Powers Act, a resolution speeded on up that it has to come on the floor within 18 days, trying to remove all the troops from Somalia. There's not a lot of troops there right now, but there are a lot of special forces. And it was one of the last things that Donald Trump did. He removed them, but literally it's like they got back into the States, and Joe Biden said, get back on the plane and get back over there, and sent them back. So literally, let's take a look at this clip, and we'll let Ben get some of his opinions out there. Guys, do us a favor. It is Steve's birthday. Let's share tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. I remember when I was 45. Wow.
Want to make it perfectly clear that it's not my birthday until tomorrow. It's just we're not on. So
let's take a look.
General Langley, I have constituents that have been scattered across Africa on train and equip missions. So just ballpark, in the last decade, how many Africans has the United States military trained and equipped?
Congressman, I don't have that figure. I can get that figure for you.
Ballpark, just, how many?
Congressman, it would be a wild guess, right?
Seems like something we should know, right?
Over the years, we have trained a substantial number, especially in the Gulf of Guinea states, but including
Like more than 10,000?
It is more than 10,000.
More than 50,000?
I'd say we're reaching around 50,000
Okay.
at least.
And what percentage of the people we've trained end up participating in insurrections or coups against their own government?
Very small number, Congressman. Very small number.
So what percentage do you think?
I'd say probably less than 1%.
But it does happen.
The IMEC program is in force, and we've pushed a significant number through our schools across the.
Yeah, and what data sets do you track to arrive at the conclusion that less than 1% of the roughly 50,000 that we've trained have participated in coups? Because it'd be like about 500, about 1% of 50,000.
That's a lot.
Congressman, you may have that information. I don't at this time, but I know.
Well, I know there are some, right? Like go ahead and throw up that image. This is Colonel Mamade Doumbouya, and this is a photo of him. Did we train and equip him in Guinea?
By name, I cannot identify that.
Well, that guy in the middle with the big red hat, Colonel Mamade Doumbouya, that's him with a bunch of U.S. service members outside of our embassy. And just
like,
months after this photo was taken, in 2021, he led a coup in Guinea.
I don't actually know these people.
The leader. Does that concern you?
Congressman, core values is what we start off with in IMA programs.
Do we share core values with Colonel Doumbouya?
Core values. I will repeat that. Core values.
I know,
Respect for humanity.
Do we share those values with Colonel Doumbouya?
Absolutely. In our curriculum.
He led a coup.
We do.
That's right.
Okay, well, that's a very telling answer. In Burkina Faso, did we share core values with the leader that we trained there who led a coup?
It's in our curriculum. We
Leading
stress
coups
core
are
values.
curriculum.
Request civilian-led governance.
Wait, hold on. Is leading coups in our curriculum?
Absolutely not.
So
Civilian-led.
My
Civilian-led.
question is, do we share?
Oh, he's
core
trying to
values
explain to you.
with the
Yes,
coup
they are.
leader
You
in
just
Burkina
asked the wrong
Faso,
question.
Who we trained?
Holistically, we teach core values with a respect for civilian governance, apolitical, and that's what sticks across a very high percentage in the 90 over
Not
99
everybody, right?
percentile.
But not everybody. And I wonder how many people it takes to plan a coup. I mean, initially you didn't know how many we trained and equipped. Then you said it was 1%. You had no basis for that 1% number because there's no data set you track. Mr. Chairman, I seek unanimous consent to enter into the record. Another U.S. trained soldier stages a coup in West Africa by the Intercept.
Without objection, so ordered.
And I further seek unanimous consent to enter into the record. U.S. forces trained the Guinean colonel behind the recent coup in West African country, and this is regard to Guinea.
Without objection, so ordered.
So I guess the question is, why should U.S. taxpayers be paying to train people who then lead coups in Africa?
So it sounds like a good place to pause really quickly because I want to hear Ben, like, why should the U.S. pay to train?
No, I mean, it's bullshit, man. There's people starving in the streets. I mean, you've been to DC plenty of times. You see the homelessness. You lived in Vegas. You see the homelessness. It's insane. The most interesting part to me about that clip actually goes unmentioned, and it's the Burkina Faso leader, because he's actually like doing serious anti-colonial shit, like breaking diplomatic relations with France. And it goes to show you that he also said 1% of 50,000, which is 500 people, which is more than the amount of countries in Africa. Obviously, it's more than the amount of countries in the world. So, I mean, it only takes one like well-trained, charismatic leader to turn a society into chaos. So, I mean, sometimes that works in the U.S.'s favor, and sometimes it goes to the Burkina Faso direction, where their satellite client state is losing their Africa milk train or honey train, whatever.
Yeah. What does Burkina Faso have resource-wise that the United States wants? Because I think a lot of when what's not being told, the fact is like they are asking the wrong questions and going down the wrong avenue. They do pay for these, the taxpayers do pay for these coups, because these coups will then go in, make sure that we extract all these resources and give us all these little fun little toys to play with at the end of the day, right? And I think that there are a lot of people who understand and know that, but just don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, the colonialism in Burkina Faso has always been really bad since before the times of Thomas Sankara. I mean, they have gold, zinc, copper, magnesium, all sorts of rare minerals. So, I mean, obviously the Western companies and the governments want those. And it's now at a point in Burkina Faso where the government is strong enough to say, get the fuck out. And at least for now, the president hasn't been assassinated like Sankara was.
And that is in Burkina Faso, that is a general or military leader in which he was trained by the West, the French, the United States, and he just said, I see what's going on and I'm going to turn.
I guess so. I mean, I'm not super well versed on Burkina Faso, but I do know that he was trained by the U.S. military and that he started to like literally deconstruct colonialism. I don't want to sound too much like a woke leftist, but that is what's happening, quite literally.
Yeah. Well, what do you mean exactly by that? That he's just,
Well, he broke the military contracts. Like their militaries are no longer working together. He broke diplomatic relations. He kicked the military out of the country, literally.
Yeah. He's just taking his national sovereignty back for his country, is what I like to say.
Yeah.
You can just, instead of saying decolonization, you can just say they're exercising national sovereignty.
Wait, hang on. Let's focus group this first.
Yeah, what is a better language?
We come from a different. Ben had to give the disclaimer. Like, I know where I'm at. I understand what room I'm in.
Well, I am a leftist, but I'm not the woke sort of leftist by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, very different than a lot of the online Twitter folks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, somebody asked me with the whole COVID thing. They're like, Pasta, what are they trying to do? Just kill all the black and brown people in the country, in the world with this vaccine and everything? I'm like, no. They gotta kill
but
Whitey
only them.
too. There's too many of us. We gotta go. Whitey gotta go too. Don't you understand?
That's one thing I would always bring up when talking to like woke leftists about COVID was, they talk about, it's a vaccine. You should just take the vaccine, the science, this and that, the science. But like, I grew up in a small farm town, and I lost a lot of friends to, the negligence of opioid and pharmaceutical companies, from fentanyl, heroin overdoses, overprescribing, Percocets, that kind of thing. So when I look at like, the large amount of distrust that the black community has to the pharmaceutical establishment in the U.S., I completely understand. I mean, because small towns throughout the country have basically turned it into like, I mean, these companies are like vampires sucking the blood out of the working class, essentially. And that goes for, the poor white people in small farm towns who are hit by the opioid epidemic. And it goes for, black people all over, but especially in cities.
It's not like the CDC used black people for experiments and gave them syphilis or anything like that.
No, they never did that.
I'm sure they're benevolent now and stuff. And when you go through that region,
this time, guys.
What's that?
This time.
I think there is somebody who said, yeah, they're usually wrong about everything else, but they're right this time, so you should try.
Fuck, I need to make a shirt.
But there's always somebody who says that for everything that happens.
So stupid.
Because
they used the Trump derangement syndrome, kind of messaging or mentality, and just applied it with COVID. So we went from TDS.
Well, that's the recipe.
Yeah. And even though this asshole signed the CARES Act, which was the mechanism for all the COVID protocols to provide incentive to put them into play and get money for them, was signed from that fucking CARES Act.
Well, look at the SBA.
Well, there's a possibility he put us into a continuity of type government type situation on the 14th of March in 2020, which is fucking crazy because on Tubi, I don't know if anybody's using Tubi. It's free. It actually kicks ass, but they have crazy documentaries on there. There's this one called They're Letting Us Die, I believe it's called. Or They Want Us Dead. It might be They Want Us Dead. Right. And it is talking about the continuity of government. And it goes deep into what the shadow government really is. And I mean, it was like March 14th, I believe, 2020 is when they enacted that shit. And that literally, I mean, and we've been in that ever since.
What is it?
That
exactly?
enacting, what's that?
What is it exactly?
The continuity of government.
Yeah.
The continuance of government. So
it was an executive order, is what I'm saying.
His executive order?
Yeah.
Shit, I can pull it up. I can't remember it was that declaration, that emergency proclamation declaration fucking thing about.
I know in 2019 he also signed he made another executive order for them to increase the testing of flu vaccines and shit. I remember that too as well.
We're talking about Trump?
We're talking about President Tiny Hands, because everybody's shitting their pants now that they're going after him. They can't believe that they've weaponized the Justice Department to go after a president for sleeping with a B- rated, porn.
I mean, have they not weaponized the justice system in that way? I mean, straight up.
Way. Yeah, I get it.
And I think it's a horrible political move. Like, they're just going to inflame his voter base and motivate them. And
look, people thought DeSantis was going to say, take him. That he was going to extradite Trump. Like, are you fucking retarded? Yeah, he said he wouldn't mind him getting indicted for January 6th and shit, but he ain't going to fucking play this shit. So now you have this alliance between these two, like, which has always been there because it's one big club and you're not in it. Could you imagine if George Carlin was alive right now?
Oh my God, what?
I think about it all the time.
Nobody, yeah, me too, man. Like
the 1999 special, I believe. No, it wasn't. It was 2003 special, I believe. It was after 9/11. Maybe it's 2002. You're all diseased. That fucking thing is so ahead of its fucking time because he has that bit where he is literally like talking about the whole COVID thing with, he's talking about having an immune system, swimming in the Hudson, how you're just a fucking pussy if you're afraid of germs, you're just a fucking pussy.
That was 1999.
Was it 99? Okay, because he does that luggage bit in there, and he does the airport about bringing bombs or something, and it's like, how the fuck was he?
That's what
was
America needs, man. That's what America needs to heal the soul is the return of George Carlin. We need him.
Well, okay.
Remind
people. They might try to bring him back in a fucking hologram.
There's
AI, ChatGPT.
that sentiment in comedy is prevalent on the outskirts. George Carlin wasn't even George Carlin was kind of a household name, right? Because he'd already been in the game for 30 years before.
He was the conductor on
Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, wait, George Carlin was the conductor.
He was Mr. Conductor. 100%.
He was the tiny. He was like this big, right?
Dude,
he was tiny George Carlin.
I gotta go coffee up and smoke a little bowl. I'll be right back.
And George Carlin is comparable to like the Rage Against the Machine thing, right? How you have these punk bands, these bands in Rage and these metal bands and shit that's against, this government, and then they all went along with it, right? And you have these people who idolized Carlin, right? And his message, who then go along with it.
Yeah, they weaponize his rhetoric.
Like, it's not even weaponizing his rhetoric. It's like they ignore it. They ignore what he said. Yeah. They ignore the fact that they're like, oh, I'm a huge fan of this guy. They've watched, like my buddy. I mean, he is a Carlin fan. He has all of his fucking specials, seen all his fucking specials, but just completely blind to the actual messaging that is happening in that, I say, go back and watch You're All Diseased. Go back and watch that fucking, go back and watch that and think, what would this fucking guy be saying today about you?
He wouldn't be saying anything on TV. They would have taken him off the air, man.
Because he's talking about you. He's talking about those people, this snowflake or what, these fucking people, these fucking hypocrite, fucking just like blind to the fact, like worshipping fucking, like, it almost makes you think, eugenics might not be a bad idea. I kid. I'm joking.
There's that clip.
There's times where people are like, yo, they might be onto something here. I mean, Jesus, fuck.
There's that clip of Bill Hicks freaking out on a heckler in Indianapolis, I think, like 89. And the heckler's like, free bird. And Bill Hicks just snaps. I mean, completely fucking loses it and winds up on the floor screaming, Hitler had the right idea. He was just an underachiever. The experiment failed. Kill them all, Adolf. Like, oh yeah, dude, over some Freebird.
Yeah.
And I mean,
if
you're
it happens,
not, that dude,
and it's getting worse. And that's by design. Again, when you see the libs of TikTok shit and the fucking crazy clown world shit, and you think to yourself, Bill Gates might be onto something. That's by design to get you to get us, to get people like me, like Steve, like Ben, to get us to fucking think like that. To go,
Well,
hey,
you know what happens?
well,
that
maybe
you know,
thank
a
God
less
they took the
innocuous,
vaccine. What's that?
a less innocent example, or maybe that's not the right word, but what you're saying rings a lot of bells, especially from what I've seen with the Antifa movement, especially in DC, because there was a time where they were very well organized and they were opposing all forms of government, and then by the time January 6th rolled around, the people who were Antifa in DC, many of whom I know, basically became like Muriel Bowser's enforcers. And these are the same people who are like, who are like these radicals and like support Rojava, et cetera, et cetera. And now they're like just they defend the Democratic Party by proxy.
It's the same as like we went from masks and shit, in your two fucking blue and yellow flags.
Well, these are the psychological operations that, like, I genuinely think like they find these points of contradiction in our society and in our culture, and they target those points of contradiction to sort of break ideological alignment of any sort within the masses. And this is probably very controversial, but I see what just happened with the shooter in Texas, and that this person is a trans person, and now like there's all sorts of conversations going on around that, and like obviously like I don't hate trans people, I don't think anything bad should happen to them, but I do wonder if this situation was created by powerful people who are trying to foster divisions and target trans people and to weaponize that situation against those people.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely are doing that. Man, I think I've been echoing this entire time. Someone said in the chat that tiny hat dude on the bottom needs headphones to get rid of the echo. I think may have gotten rid of the echo. But yeah, I mean, the Nashville thing is like such a blatant thing, like we were talking about earlier. And it's to cause this division and distraction, like people arguing over the shoes, people like me. I wasted too much time on these fucking videos. Not the videos, because it's literally 1 second, 30 frames, real quick, easy. I can do it in 2 minutes. But the wasting my fucking energy arguing with people with like 9 fucking followers that want to, yeah, they're trying to get me to go, you fucking I mean, I called them losers and told them to go suck their mom's cock and stuff like that. But that's gonna happen every once in a while. I'm like, hey, go have a fun time. But yeah, I mean, they're causing like this division. They're doing shit. Even the mockingbird thing is they're laying it on thick. Like I've said before with like the balloon thing, how they took the balloon and John Kirby, he wouldn't fucking tell you, it's just a fucking
right. They wanted you to think it was more than it actually was.
It's an object. It's an object. Then you have KJP during a fucking thing go, hey guys, before I leave, I just want to let you guys know it's not an alien, because people, meaning like the truthers, conspirators, or whatever, are speculating it's alien. Even though we've said there might be a mothership,
right? And they want them to speculate that because they want
so that way they can come back.
Aliens instead of going to war with China.
That's why I feel with like the Nashville thing, right? We only seen this small glimpse of this person. We'll say this person. Let's stay political, right? This person shooting through the door and then going through this hallway, looking around, and then walking through what looks like a fucking doctor's reception office or something. I think it's supposed to be the fucking lunchroom, and nothing else. And then we see it looks like they've switched shoes, clothes, lost their watch, fucking switched their utility belt, maybe. Like, what the fuck is going on? So now you have people speculating about this, and I feel like a video is going to pop up where they're like, oh, they went in here during that 17 fucking long 17 minutes and were able to switch their clothes, which we don't know where they got them from. They were a former student or being counseled there, so they hid them there. They're gonna give us some type of spiel, so that way they can go, ha ha, see, look it, you guys listen to these fucking idiots. And in lockstep right now, you have like 8 countries that have already said we need to fucking, clamp down on misinformation. You have blackface Trudeau. You have all these other motherfuckers going up on podiums saying, the misinformation and the flat earthers, we've got to fucking take care of it. And then the Restrict Act, they want to fucking throw a motherfucker in prison. I cuss a lot,
This is the show that it's okay to curse a lot. Who's
that?
Well,
my show is a cussing. It's the Rant Cast. But anyways, they have the Restrict Act. What's up, man? They have this fucking Restrict Act. They're threatening to throw a motherfucker in prison for 20 years for using fucking IP Vanish.
I saw that. That's crazy, for using VPN to access TikTok. And you know what the funniest thing to me about that whole TikTok?
Not to access TikTok. It has nothing to do with TikTok.
Yeah, I know.
Access RT. If you access RT, if you access something that's Chinese, if you access something that they feel that they have labeled a foreign terrorist or whatever, boom, they have the right, which they already do, right? They have the right to go through your shit, take, and with no warrant, and then everybody connected to you, they can go through. Yeah. And then they're talking for using a VPN, you can go 20 years in prison. And right now, like I said, with that Ricky Vaughn, you'd have to look up Ricky Vaughn, because I can't remember his real name, because that was his pseudonym on Twitter. But he's facing 10 years in prison over a meme. Over a meme, because they are telling people, and people are believing it, that he had more influence than all the mainstream media, than Twitter, than Facebook, than everybody, right? That this man deserves to spend 20 years in prison for posting a joking meme on Twitter. That he was a mastermind of an election, a scheme to interrupt and basically steal the election.
Undermine the election.
The meme was, it said, text this number to vote for Hillary.
Oh, jeez. And they want to
can't text, and a couple thousand people text this number, and that's enough to influence an election. Not the fucking how many thousand fucking, unverified signatures of how many fucking thousands of these fucking ballots are the bags of ballots that Ruby Freeman drug out of the fucking bottom of her goddamn fucking table and then told the cops that she fucking ran them to get the goddamn numbers. Yeah, that's not enough. Well, but the shit that Ricky did,
narrative is so perfect for the Democrats.
I keep yelling.
It really is. It's so perfect for the Democrats because then they look like, oh, look, we care about elections and democracy, but also it's the Russia narrative, right? Because everything bad on the internet comes from Russia. But what I was going to say is, with TikTok, is interesting that there's all this like talk about it because, I've been a social media manager for like political outlets, and TikTok is worlds apart in terms of how bad the censorship is from every other platform. TikTok is by far the worst in terms of censorship.
Oh yeah, they censor in a drop of a dime.
Dude, mine stuff.
Back when I was with Midpress, we would post videos of like IDF soldiers arresting Palestinians aggressively, and that video would get taken down for hate speech. And it's it's just constant. It's constant on TikTok. And it's by far the worst platform under U.S. control, is where the censorship is pro-U.S. censorship.
It's in the Cayman Islands, right? And it's I love when they told the eye patch McCain the other day. He's like, when he's complaining about China this, China that, and he's like, I'm from Singapore. Just so
wait, what?
Know. The CEO goes, I'm a Singaporean.
Yeah, I'm a Singaporean, by the way. I saw that clip. That was so funny.
He goes, yeah, but...
Oh, shit. I thought you were saying Dan Crenshaw said he was...
Yeah.
Singapore.
Patrick
He
McCain
said he was from Singapore.
No, the
Like,
CEO, they
told
were
him.
talking to him
Oh,
like he
okay.
was from China, but he's like, I'm from Singapore, by the way.
Like, what a surprise fucking Crenshaw
I don't-
dropped on everybody.
I don't
bet
That
Brian
was
Johnson
the M.
was
Night
out there doing
Shyamalan
that.
twist that
That
you
guy
didn't
is a
see
Bond
coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Night Shyamalan. Yeah. Guys, by the way, I don't mean to interrupt this great conversation, but we have somebody on the show that's. I went and I was inspired by his Rand Paul curls, and now he cut them off. That hair is like, what the hell is going on, Connor? Look at this. I got my shit, and your shit is gone. Where's your curls, brother?
He's in his Eastern European gangster arc. All right, we're fitting him out for an
Let him
Adidas
speak,
tracksuit.
Steve.
Good, there's one right down the
He's
street.
Let
gonna
him
learn.
speak.
He's gonna learn
Into the
Belarus.
microphone, Connor. Take
I
the
got my
microphone. Go ahead.
tracksuit in Las Vegas. You can get yours, man.
I had curls, and my stylist wanted me to look like a little boy, so she cut my hair, and now I'm upset. But it shit grows back, so it's fine.
It looks good, dude. No, you look. I mean, it makes you look a little. You look a little bit older than I think you did. If that makes any sense.
2 weeks ago, so yeah, I am actually a little bit older. Thank you. I do.
You look older. The haircut,
Yeah. Cool. I
And I like your
snatched it
shirt.
and bought them, so.
Well,
Never
the
get the
Eastern
right
European
guy.
gangster look is in fashion. So
Yeah, I found out that's all I have to. I didn't know what kind of haircut I would get, and then last time I just went in and said, "Give me the gangster," and they're like, "Okay, boom," and it's exactly what I would.
and
So
a complimentary Adidas tracksuit.
yeah, I didn't know what they wanted. What they called their.
Actually, those Adidas tracksuits are a little expensive, man. I bought one at the store and on the strip, and it was like $120. I was a little surprised.
I think you might have got.
You gotta thrift store that shit, or you gotta outlet mall that shit.
Yeah, not buy it on the strip.
Yeah. You don't want to buy anything on the strip. Anything. Period.
Well, I can think of a few things you might want to buy on the strip.
Dude, I mean, even if you're alluding to pussy, Ben Rubenstein.
No,
if you're alluding to
I
it.
wouldn't do that.
What's
Pretty
the
dangerous.
What's the
That's
street he
probably the
lives
most
by?
dangerous place.
Was that
I
possible?
mean,
What's that street he lives by? The way they always tell the jokes don't go down that street unless you want to see some of that old school.
Oh, that's Boulder Highway. If you follow Boulder Highway out of town. Yeah, that's where there's still 1980s style strolling.
Oh, really? Wow. I didn't see that while I was in Vegas.
On the stroll.
I think we should thank the producers a little bit right now, because we have a decent amount of them, and we want to give people a chance to go ahead and be a producer themselves. We even got a little love in the Rumble jar. So, yeah, I mean, Connor, you got anything to say, brother? How's everything been, man? You want to finish up with anything right there, or you just jump on to just sit there and hang out with Dad?
Here, pretty much. I just jumped on to sit here.
He thought he might hand him up the
Steve,
stream.
Steve, that's your
dude,
son?
No, me working out, and he has me working down in the basement. He let me out today, so
It's true. The
Yeah.
basement of the apartment.
he makes
Yeah.
his kids work for him.
It's true. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
did work for us last
God,
time.
the
and you did
basement
a
of the
great job.
apartment. That's the
I did
worst.
I had no idea that was your son, Steve. Oh, hello, Steve's son.
Got the washing
Hi.
machine.
Connor,
Yeah.
Ben, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
The thing
Craig.
is that,
It's Greg.
when Connor came the first time, you sometimes you can't tell, that Steve's his father, because we just have this hanging out, kicking relationship. Because Connor can kick it with us old dudes for sure, man. He can definitely hang.
I respect that. Not that I'm old. Don't
You
All
are
right.
old.
Well, let's go ahead and thank the producers real quick, and maybe we can let these guys plug their stuff and throw another clip or two, and then get on with our get on. You guys, it's a value for value show. And what that means is that every time you see this, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific, it's going to come to you for free. It's never going to show up behind a paywall. We don't make you subscribe to anything to get the content. There's an option to do that through Rokfin, and if you would like to do that, thank you. But no one is being forced to do that. There's no advertisers for this thing. none. We don't take any ad money. We don't take any sponsorships or anything like that. It's just you guys who produce the show, and we thank you for that. There's a handful of things that we definitely need from you, and that's time, talent, and treasure. Time and talent, because there's only a couple of us, and we have a bunch of other stuff going on, and we can't even get to the stuff we need to do, let alone the stuff we want to do. So if you can help out on that end, email the show, amwakeup@protonmail.com. There on the treasure end, there's multiple different direct donate links, and those are absolutely vital. And so if you're in a position to, or if you're feeling in the mood to contribute today, grab one of the direct links, the Cashapp, Venmo, whatever, all that's and thank you for it over on the Super A. And oh yeah, there's merch. The Woodland shirts are awesome. Dude,
I like
they're
the white
awesome.
one. I like the white one.
They're awesome.
Are
This
there
was a
hoodies for that
one-off
yet or
bonus
no?
thing that Ryan from Big Frog threw me. It's Norm. I have another one. It's here and like inside outish, but yeah, this is freaking hysterical. But yeah, go check the merch store. Links in there. There's a link to the Rebels with a Cause event, Nashville, Tennessee, June 3rd and 4th. Both Pasta and I will be there. I'm hoping you'll be there too. We work that out.
You gonna be there with us, brother? That's gonna be awesome.
I'm gonna try to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Turd Ferguson.
I still have my my shirt from the Convo Couch Pasta.
Heck
Why
yeah.
aren't you wearing it?
I should have. I had this on. I had a quick call before I had to put a dress shirt on. So
Ooh.
yeah.
Ooh.
I hope it went well. At least I got a text. It went well.
Let's see. So on the over with some Super A's, there were some people yesterday I should thank real quick. Let's see. Peter DeGregory, Margaret Bow, Rob McMurtry, Jeremy Friedman, TD, and Gino, who said been waiting to send a check in the mail, so there's no cut, but I'm a slacker. NMAG says putting 10 blood dollars on it for the Bill Withers slow down. All right. It's nice to see some people who appreciate some Bill Withers in the chat. Null hypothesis. Ooh, we passed the SCA, Starbucks choice assignment. It's our president, Joe Biden, who gets to pick his own Starbucks. The press secretary is
love him.
confident Joe Biden can choose his own Starbucks.
Best president. Love that guy.
Right. Don't coup us. That's a tough one. Smooth sailing ahead. Gino, thank you very much. Love to you all. It's very generous. Pam Gonzalez just wanted to tell you how much I enjoy your show. Thank you, Pam. Just hysterical and oh so informative. That's the lane we're trying to yeah. Peter MacArthur, thank you very much. Justice Juice, appreciate you. Some happy birthday wishes. Great show, guys, as always, says Tom Hutchison from another Aries, March 25th. Both Steve and Pasta, astrology is metaphysical racism. Happy birthday. Thank you very much.
Running with it.
Chris
Leon.
Leon.
Shirt for that one.
I should do that.
Yeah.
We'll come up with a
All Wars or Bankers Wars is a good T-shirt too.
It's true. We'll get there. We will. Give me a sec. And get through the super chats before I design merch on camera.
Gotcha. You do such a good job. That Woodland shirt is tight.
It is freaking dope, dude. I'm good at this.
You are.
Chris Leon. Good morning to you all. Have you guys ever seen Craigslist ads that hire crisis actors? Yes. People are saying that before many mass shootings, these ads spike up. Don't know what to believe anymore. Well, believe that you should continue to ask questions until you are satisfied that the evidence and the data match what is being said by the people who are supposed to be in charge of or responsible for an outcome. And if you don't receive satisfactory answers, you should either demand them or realize that there's a whole lot of other circumstances to which that applies, and then do whatever you can to find or shore up your community and exit the technocratic state. Jim Garrison, thank you very much. Pasta and birthday boy Steve, get a $5. Spice Weasel, bam. Happy unbirthday to you. Thank you very much. Scott Johnson, appreciate you.
Scotty
NW.
J.
Thank you very much. You guys rock. Vicky Lynn dropped a 20 happy birthday, Steve. I hope it's a great personal new year for you. I clicked the new monthly subscriber button today too, so you guys will at least get $5 a month from me. Y'all rock. Thank you, Vicky Lynn. That's how you do it. And I think that's that. So yeah, you guys are awesome. Appreciate you.
Hell yeah.
You flex for him too. Yeah.
It's just my natural aura.
It's just your natural aura.
It's just how I am.
All right.
How much was that monthly supporter, by the way?
It's just me.
$5. $5.
Hey,
Pasta, I love the hat.
thank you. I got it, of course, in Cuba.
Did you get the cigar in Cuba too?
Yes. And once again, I got some Cohibas that I've given to people. These are like the cheap cigars that you get in the streets of Havana, and I like them better. You know what I'm saying? This is less than $1, and it lasts me like at least 2 days to smoke when I'm in Havana. I mean, my first time there, I'm smoking these cigars, and my Cuban breakfast was black coffee Bustelo, dark Cuban rum, and a cigar. And then I go out and grab some of the small bananas, some papaya. You know, it was fun. I had a great time in Cuba, despite witnessing what's going on. But what we had talked about. I think that's a lot of things that me, you, and Wyatt, and a couple of the people are going to be able to be talking about with some of our ideologue friends who are so committed to the revolution. You know what I'm saying? Which all great and all dandy, and meeting a lot of people who are still loyal to that mentality, but how does that really help us out 60-something odd years later? Cubans need to eat. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. A lot is done from the United States empire putting the stranglehold on them, but they're even looking to try and develop some markets and understand and get a private sector in there.
Well, you have to innovate to get around the sanctions. It's the only you have to find new ways, new technology.
A Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. But it's funny what you say about the cigars, because I live in a very much working class barrio in Nicaragua. Not where I used to live.
The best cigars are in Nicaragua.
Well, I find that just like
Bye, Connor. We love you. Sorry.
Things you buy on the street are often better. For example, I mean, my haircut. I just walk down the street, go to a guy who works out of a shop, and pay $6, and he works for an hour on my hair. But if I go to the Gallerias, the mall, it's like $12, and they got me in and out in 15 minutes. So the quality of stuff you find on the street in Latin America is often better and cheaper than just like going to like a store or something.
Yeah. Yep. I'm enjoying it. I really do. I'm having a good time, and it's made.
You have to bring me one next time I see you.
You're really helping like the actual people on the streets out by doing that stuff. So
yeah. I mean, I live here. I like to give them my business as much as I can. Yeah, but you got to bring me one of those cigars when I see you again, Pasta. Do you remember those FSLN cigars we had back at my place? Yeah, Dennis brought those.
Dennis brought them. Sandinista cigars.
Yeah, so they're like Cuban tobacco, but it's like grown by a commander who was trained in guerrilla warfare by the Cubans for the Nicaraguan Revolution, something like that. But he makes these FSLN cigars, and they are fantastic.
I hope to God that the Cubans look to the Nicaraguans to develop some of these fucking markets and be able to feed themselves like the Nicaraguans can, the way the Nicaraguans were able to lean on the Cubans for military advice and support and whatnot. And I hope that happens.
Difficult. I mean, Nicaragua is 97% food sovereign. They grow all their own food, basically. Cuba doesn't have that. Yeah. But because Nicaragua does have that, the sanctions don't bite quite as hard.
Exactly, because they can feed themselves, and that's the main thing that's going on in Cuba right now. When you can't eat that everything's off the fucking table. Then people don't give a shit what happened and who's doing what. If you can't eat, and then you're going to directly blame the people that are governing you. You know what I'm saying? So these sanctions are meant to turn the people against the people against their government.
Yeah,
they're fucking working, and I just hope, you know. And that's the thing. You don't have to worry about markets coming in from the United States anymore. You Cuba, you got a partner in Russia and fucking China. Make it work, baby. Adopt their models.
Yeah.
Anyways,
and they're going to have to. They're going to have to.
Wrong show for that. Sorry. No, it's the right show, but you know what? You know.
I mean, well, it's a question of what can you then offer outside of the, you know, tourism. Yeah. What can you produce that's gonna be, and not just doctors? You give me that shit.
No, I know you got an island full of fucking.
Well, that's a big problem with Nicaragua too, because they don't make things here in Nicaragua.
Right.
There's no industrial sector. I mean, there is, but almost everything besides the food that is like being purchased and sold comes from the U.S.
Yeah. Well, China's coming in now, so.
But that also makes Nicaragua incredibly vulnerable, because the U.S. could just say, okay, no more exports, no more imports, and the Nicaraguan economy collapses. Sure, they can still feed themselves, but
maybe they get a lot of oil too from Venezuela, right? Like, I know they have some of those Venezuelan gas stations in Nicaragua, so they get some of their energy dependency outside the United States. So it's,
they do. I mean, the country wouldn't collapse. The country would survive, and I think the government would survive as well. But it would be a very, very bad situation. And you know, they have their relationship with China now, and that's developing quickly behind the scenes. So hopefully, if more sanctions do get applied to Nicaragua, they will have opened up enough alternative options. Yeah. And I think that the government here sees that coming. You know, back when Ortega was not in power, after he lost power in the 90s and early 2000s, the Chamorro government, you know, made relations with Taiwan, and Taiwan created, you know, tens of thousands of jobs. And Nicaragua is a very poor country, and they need those jobs. Like, they can't just not have jobs. They need jobs. So now that China is stronger and offering a possible alternative, you know, a year and a half ago, they, you know, struck relations with Nicaragua. So I think that Nicaragua has been playing the slow game and has anticipated this sort of multipolarity that we're seeing for years now.
Wyatt was telling me they would have these kind of social programs, and they're very much like not too controlled by the state, where the state would make sure that, first of all, they told their people to stay out in their agricultural lands. They didn't create a situation where they had to come into the bigger cities to work. He kept them there.
That's correct. Yeah, I have an indigenous friend here who speaks like 6 languages. And he is a member of the Sandinista Liberation Front. And, you know, he was telling me that, like, when he was younger, he made a promise to himself that whoever built a road to his indigenous community, he would vote for them. And, you know, the Sandinistas built that road.
Yeah.
And,
so he voted
you know, and for that, he's a diehard supporter, because without that road, you're looking at like half a week of traveling just to get to the city.
Yeah.
And that's not a good way to live.
And Chris, some of the best elections I've seen in fucking Nicaragua. I got access to them easy. That's the thing, because when you listen, and that's what Cuba didn't do this time. I obviously understand the fact that the CIA has been trying to overthrow that government for quite some time. But same thing with Nicaragua. Nicaragua fought a war against the Contras that were funded by the fucking CIA.
Oh, man, it's been going longer than that, dude. It's been going since, like, the 1800s. Like, William Walker, they installed a president. Somoza was trained at the School of Americas, and that guy literally used airplanes to bomb his own cities.
Yeah. But the government was like, opened it up to the international community. It was like, come on in. We got nothing to fucking hide. Don't observe. Yeah. Scrutinize. And I can tell you, I was in a room with 3 Nicaraguan election officials and Billy. First of all, I went to the other side. I went away from Managua, right?
Yeah, we
They
went
were
all
sending
over the
everybody
country.
everywhere.
They sent delegations of us all over the country. Yeah, I was in.
That's the thing. They spread delegations everywhere. Get your
Yeah.
phones out. You know what I'm saying? We were able to debunk the New York Post or the New York Times in actual
We
time.
ratioed it to all of us collectively. Wyatt did some serious work, but we all
Oh, yeah.
like
You got
made
hit
them
by
look like
Keith Olbermann.
assholes.
But
Yeah.
I got in the room with these election officials, and dude, I threw the book at them. I made people in my own delegation get pissed at me, like, "Are you done asking questions?" And I'm like, "No." Every single aspect, and they were confident and they were ready to go. My most memorable time is I said, "So you guys don't have mail-in or drop boxes?" And he laughed. He laughed. He laughed. No, laughed. in my face.
Transparency and accountability.
Yes.
That's
Yeah, you need your ID to vote. You go up, they have a booth set up with a bunch of laptops. It takes about 5 minutes to vote. If you're in a wheelchair, they'll carry you up the stairs just so you can vote.
One day of
But
voting.
that sounds horribly racist.
And
One
you know,
day of
there's
voting.
people selling things like on the outside, not on the inside place, just because like there's not enough space. But like, you know, I know in some states, like you can't give like food and water to people standing in line to vote, and they're out there waiting for like, you know, 5, 6, 7 hours.
That's the
nothing to eat or
glory
drink.
of the American experiment.
Yeah.
First of all, the law is if you're a party official, you can't give food or water. You can't bribe people. But elections officials can. They have water there. They got that. The reason why
Well, in
they
Georgia,
do that-
you can't pass out like pizza to people in line.
in where?
Georgia?
If
In Georgia, yeah.
you can't
No,
be you can't
order
be
pizza.
an official, and you it's
Yes.
like it's the same as like, let's take football for example. Like you can't, like, the coach can't go over to the other team over there and like read the playbook, you know.
Well,
But I mean, the fans from the back could probably read it, you know. I mean, I guess
what
that's a
they're trying to
fucking
do.
horrible analogy, guys.
Okay, so there's the
Embrace that
electioneering.
whole
Electioneering is like pretty specific state by state too, as far as distance
It
and
is,
what you
yeah.
can do and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But every year or every election season, you get things like Bill Clinton being 2 inches away from the barrier line, but with a megaphone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you
they follow the legality of it, because the legalese really. I was trying to say this earlier about, you know, these people are like a cult. They're occultists, right? They believe in karma, and they would call it the revelation of the method, right? Well, the revelation of the method in this state of snakes, lawyers, and crooks, right, is legalese, right? The legal system, because they write these bills, they write these laws, and they put these hexes on us, right? And if we don't read these bills, if we don't stand up against this shit and they pass it, well, that's on you guys, you know.
They
That's
change it
not-
every year.
Yeah.
I probably mentioned this a few times for the next like little while, but I mean, not a single solitary mention of either TikTok or ByteDance in the Restrict Act. Not a single one. And it's all the Ban TikTok Act and TikTok and TikTok, and we're grilling the guy from TikTok. It's not in your fucking bill because it's the fucking Patriot Act for the internet.
But
And
it's not-
It does list
it's-
foreign adversaries, by the way. It does list Cuba, Iran.
So does the fucking Patriot Act.
Yeah.
But
so they try to
and
distract
that's
you
the
who the enemy is.
thing
They go
is-
after everybody.
That's the thing. If you use a VPN I use a VPN because and other things, but I mean, I got hit on a live stream and they threw my fucking iTunes account up. One frame. That's all it took. One frame. It freezes it. You freeze it. Boom. It's all there. So I've used shit, you know, just using that and accessing something like RT, for example. That is enough for them. And this is triggered by an AI. This ain't triggered. This is just triggered. Right? This is boom. They're in, which they're already doing, yes. And then people have that argument, well, if you ain't doing it, that's fucking
It's the stupidest
this has been
argument I've ever
besides
heard.
the fucking point for 20 plus fucking years of, well, if you ain't doing nothing, then I ain't got.
I thought we finished that conversation when everything with Snowden happened.
And is
right?
Snowden a real thing? Or was he used, right? Because we see the deep fakes, we see how deep it goes, we see how far back it goes, we see what the NBA can do by putting someone as LeBron. You can play as LeBron James in a live fucking game without a green screen, and it tracks your body and puts, you know what I'm saying? Snowden could have been just used as a revelation, right? To say, hey, yeah, we're doing exactly what these fucking conspiracy nuts are saying, right? We're in your fucking phone. We're logging every fucking piece of your digital fucking life. And off Snowden goes to fucking Russia. And the only time you see him is when?
Well, I do think
right?
Snowden's real, but I definitely think the effect that his revelations had were exactly what you're saying, because now it's normalized.
Yes. And it
Well,
started
and
to
at
be
the same
normalized,
time,
the
there-
prison state and the surveillance state when with reality TV. I remember thinking of this years ago, how they were getting people adapted to everything being on camera, and then the camera phone happens, and now they're slowly. A buddy of mine was like, have you seen what's in China? If Trump would have still been president, we would have had the China problem. I thought he was talking about a fucking war. He was talking about the China, the surveillance state.
I was hoping he was talking about our infrastructure.
Yeah, he's talking about, I mean, the God damn it, I just lost where I was going with that. The Chinese. Anyways.
What, the facial rec shit?
Yeah. The Chinese didn't just wake up in a surveillance state like that. They didn't just fucking wake up and there was 200 million fucking cameras everywhere. That was seeped in. It was seeped in a lot quicker than what they're doing with us. But you can see in the cities, you can see on the interstates, you can see on the highways, you can see on the main roads, the cameras, the scanners, the now with the 5G, which just is a way 5G, they're like, oh, 5G is going to fucking microwave you, blah, blah, blah. It's just a way to be able to literally like map everything in real time, to be able to track you. Like,
well, I think China's moving
America
towards that sort of surveillance is a lot more seamless than ours in the U.S., primarily because a large portion of the Chinese population supports their government, which is not the case here in the U.S.
Yeah.
Their society is far more cohesive than ours is. And so when the government says we want to do something like this, for the most part, people are okay with it.
Are they? We're seeing this uprising on
conflicting
videos
reports
and
about that. We
Yes,
really do. I find it hard to believe that 1 billion people are satisfied with the level of penetration the state has into their life.
Well, I'm sure they're not happy about it. I'm not saying that, but
well, I mean, they're also, they've been a conquered culture for centuries and have been in various spots of complete and total obsequience to the state, versus the allowance of being able to sort of do to make your own decisions, to have a business, do that and the other. We had Kurt Metzger on just a couple of days ago, who was like, dude, I've fucking been to China. You know what I did? The first day I was in China, I ran from the cops because the guy that was in the cab with us like snapped a gate and some shit, and we wound up running for like 2 blocks. And then he was like, okay, this is probably good enough because they're not gonna show up. They're just not. And like, he was like, there's people that openly flip the cops off as they drive by. There's all, he's like, there's a whole, you don't know, he's trying to explain to people. It's like, you don't understand that it's not that they're cool with being surveilled, but if here's the problem.
they're harvesting people's fucking organs while they're alive.
Yeah,
Like,
that's fucked
there's
up.
a fear. Fear and greed are the 2 strongest
Yeah,
emotions that
yeah,
control
that's
the
so
world.
funny, like,
okay, where are they harvesting
Yeah,
people's
that's like-
organs? Because that's
You
a
don't
very
believe the
bold
Falun
thing.
Gong?
No, I don't.
No, I
They're
do not
cultists,
believe the
and
Falun
I've
Gong.
encountered Falun Gong people. They're
They're equivalent of
psycho
the
cult.
The Falun Gong people they're a little
fucking
And
nuts.
like,
they,
and the
they-
other person who's making claims of organ harvesting is, what's that fucking guy's name? He blocked me. He's that German one. He's with the Uyghurs.
So the human
the
harvest
Uyghurs,
on
another bullshit
Amazon.
fucking thing, too.
Have you seen the documentary Human Harvest?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
No.
The
But
problem
yeah,
is
no, this
always
guy
the-
making the claims
the whole
like they're
political
harvesting
China.
Uyghur organs, like that guy is like an anti-Semite. And I don't say that just to dismiss him, but he's a crazy evangelical German who wrote in a book that like Jews are all going to be burned in God's fiery furnace when the apocalypse comes. He's a total psycho, and he's under the payroll of the
The head of the
CIA.
Falun
I
Gong?
don't know who that is, but
He's the one. He's the main researcher for the Uyghur quote genocide.
well, I'm talking about the Falun Dafa.
Yeah, no, I know, but they're both
They're not the
like being
Uyghurs.
supported by like the NED and like the Bolton like Warhawks. It's all like, I mean,
Okay, so
met
the
these
one
Falun
guy
Gong
is
people.
doing it.
The
You're saying that
Mercer
guy put out
family
Human
has
Harvest?
a fuck ton of money in the Falun Gong's presence here in the U.S.
Who does?
The
Mercer family?
Mercers.
Yeah, I mean the Falun Gong
They
is
bankroll their
completely funded by
presence here
US,
in the
like,
affiliate
deep
media
state.
outlets that are
All the shit we hear about
Falun
China
Gong
here is so
maintained.
fucked up. Steve Bannon is bankrolled by Miles Guo, who's a fucking ex-descendant, wants to take down the government, been thrown out. You know what I'm saying? So he's literally, he yells about the Chinese Communist Party, but yeah, he's supported by a Chinese descendant. So I mean, or dissident is what I should
There
say.
you go.
Guys,
Well,
let's
the
get into
dissident
that.
would mean that he's not a communist.
Exactly.
Pasta. That's what he's dissenting
Yes,
from
I know
is
exactly.
the communism. So that does track that he would rail against the communism if he's bankrolled by a rabid anti-communist. That
You got
does
it.
track.
Yeah.
That does.
He's
Yeah.
a rabid anti-communist.
Who
Yeah, but
also
don't you
quotes
Falun Gong
Lenin
people-
on the daily.
So
These Falun
Anyways.
Gong people, they're like crazy cultists. Like if you see them in Washington D.C., they just believe the most outlandish things.
Like what?
Well,
Give me
like
some
organ harvesting with no evidence, and they get all
You
their
haven't
money.
seen Human Harvest though, right?
No, I haven't seen the
I
documentary.
100% believe
Okay.
that multiple governments harvest human organs. We prove this over and over again with cutouts
I mean, have
like
you
the
seen
White
the
House.
unwanted thing that the Australian 60 Minutes did on what's going on just with the adoption of kids in the United
The
States? of America?
record rate
No.
of missing women and indigenous women and children are
Yep.
not all for sex slavery. They're
No,
just
No, and
obviously
it's not-
human trafficking. And I'm not saying the
Yeah.
Chinese government is perfect, but and maybe there is human traffic. There's definitely human trafficking and organ trafficking in China. It's a country of 1.4 billion people. How closely it's connected to the government is something I'm very skeptical about.
yeah, that's
Well, how else? I mean, how else would it be getting done at a like
I mean,
almost an
multinational
industrial-
criminal organizations, triad, that kind of thing.
which go up to what? They end up in the.
I mean,
Well,
Where?
there are probably like I'm not saying like
I'm just
there
asking
aren't
questions. I mean-
certain government officials involved, but I don't think it's this. If that is a thing, I don't think it would be like a giant CCP conspiracy theory.
yeah, because
or-
that would be crazy if your government had an intelligence agency that went around establishing gangs or terror organizations all over the world. That's
I
just
think
out
as
of
Americans,
pocket.
it's tempting to see things through the lens like every government is this way or that way, but that's not always the case.
No, you're absolutely correct. You are, and I don't mean to suggest that the Chinese would engage in espionage in any way, shape, or form.
so stupid. You stop.
My apologies.
No, as I said, I don't think it's a utopia. I'm sure there's plenty of horrible shit that the government does, just like every government. But like the Falun, like
the
For all the
Falun
news we
Gong
get out
thing
there is
is
accurate as
like,
it is
dismissed
right
because
now.
of
Falun
who?
Gong. The Epoch Times is just spot on. You know,
it's the thing with Falun Gong is it's 100% funded by the Western deep state. So
Yeah.
that's a big point of concern. But also some of these claims about organs, like I know at least with the Uyghur stuff.
I mean, just the organ donation racket in the United States alone.
Right, that's horrible. Like if you want to say China has something like that, totally, and organs can be
But
purchased.
when they can go in and
list.
they can pull the kidneys out, they can bring you in 3 different sets of kidneys
yeah,
in the same
But you know these
You
these
know.
foul these the people
They
who say
have to
that
be
organ
taken from live
harvesting
people.
Uyghurs,
You have to be
they're like-
alive to do organ. Don't you know? You have to be alive to get. That's why
They're
you have
like-
to be on life support to get your organ.
They think these Uyghur organs have like special magical properties, and that's why they're getting harvested. That's what the guy
They
said.
What's the
do.
magical-
They're
No.
embedded with the
Hold on, what's
grace
the
of
magical-
Allah.
What's the
Let's be honest about
what's the
this.
magical properties of the Falun Dafa that they're talking about?
Of the Uyghurs.
I'm not talking about the Uyghurs. I'm talking about the Dafa. I'm not.
Well, I
talking
mean,
about the
they're all
Uyghurs.
funded
This is the
by-
problem.
by-
Are
I mean,
we
it's
talking
just
about the same
various
thing? 'Cause the
narratives
Uyghurs, I
compared-
kind of.
I mean, it's
understand what you're
various
saying.
narratives all constructed by like the same deep state players. So
Okay.
Which is who?
drawing a distinction isn't super.
You can't give me the
meaningful.
name of the guy that said he blocked you, and he's the one, I guess, that has gotten this whole thing started.
Let's make sure that we understand. You might be talking about the DAFA, but there's been many stories about organ harvesting from the Uyghurs. There's been bills in Congress that have said that the Uyghurs are using hair for pillows. They're using Uyghur hair for pillows. That they're forcing Uyghurs to marry into certain Han families. So it is very parallel. You might be talking about something else, but that has been the predominant conversation and group they've picked on by via policy.
I feel there's a distraction issue going on here.
So,
The Falun
okay,
Dafa,
so
when
what-
it comes to magic organs, they don't smoke, they don't drink.
Yeah.
They're extremely healthy. They're extremely healthy people.
They're
their
also
belief
a
system, they're not
Western-funded
religious.
entity.
The Falun
Chris,
Dafa are the
is what
Uyghurs.
yeah.
Both of them.
Going back a solid 3 decades, if not a little bit more. That at least in the U.S., at least the U.S. presence. You can go through finances. You can go
I'm gonna
through
put the
SEC.
link to Human Harvest in the
Yeah,
chat.
I'll watch
can
it.
check
Dude.
it
And
out.
so here's what I think, and this is just
I don't
my
doubt
opinion.
it, you know, because I'm open to anything. So
Here's what I think, and just my opinion. All of these human organ harvesting videos that we see, I would say that there's significant legitimacy to the event occurring on screen. The event occurring on screen is real. The narrative behind it is selective.
Right, like that
And
Jordan
I'd be
Peterson,
more
Jordan
against
Peterson
the
video of the
event happening on
masturbation
screen.
factory.
Ryan Dawson busted that on the fucking.
I mean, there
Guide
is some
Suddenly
there.
shit. I'm
There's
talking about
definitely some of that.
witnesses and accounts
And we have
know,
that with the white helmets.
people who
We have that with a number of other organizations where they've
witness accounts
witnessed.
don't mean shit.
So-
Look at Yomi Park in North Korea. Like that woman
Total
is
fucking CIA fucking.
I mean,
like-
literally in South
Hey,
Korea
Rogan.
publicly gives defectors. They say if you Google this, it says it. They're public about it. They give defectors who $1 million to basically go on TV and do whatever the South Korean state tells them to do. And it's actually like 800,000.
And I think we also know where the majority of the human organ black market is at. Same place where the child trafficking black market is at. It's coming out of Ukraine. It's coming out of Ukraine. We all know this for a fucking fact. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what happens where there was a lot of shit going on in Syria. You know, Vanessa Beeley has talked about it, but this is one of the most corrupt countries, and this is caused by us, the United States fucking foreign policy apparatus, the war machine and stuff. And I get that there might be some suspicions and some concerns when it comes to QR codes in China, when it comes to organ harvesting in China. But I've said this before, and I'll say it again, no matter what, and we can always talk about it, it's cool, but we need to handle our own shit first. We need to clean ourselves first. We need to get our own house in order first.
Again, man, this isn't necessarily an argument when you're living in an oligarchy that has overlapping ties with the nation that we're also discussing. That's basically saying you don't get to discuss anything until you've handled your entire nation's problems. And that's reductive and ridiculous. It really is. We're allowed to have these conversations.
Discuss these things for sure. We can discuss these things for sure, but what purpose does it serve?
Broadly speaking, broadly speaking, it gives people a more complete picture of the world in which they live, and I think that's incredibly valuable.
I know it's not like it's going to be
but
taken
only
out of
when we have
people.
like definitive evidence that can't be debunked.
Yeah, And it's not
Like, in
like
reality,
all this.
I've never been to China. I've never been to one of these alleged organ
This
harvesting
is true.
factories.
It's like I've never been to space. I've never been, so I can't.
Right, but also
I'm pretty sure space is fake and gay. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
well, it's definitely gay. I don't know about
it's
fake.
gay as shit.
And it's not like any of this information.
Pocket of gravity thing is fucking ridiculous. Get the fuck.
The pocket of gravity thing is just silly. It is.
It's fucking ridiculous. It's like you watch that one fucking time. I don't give a fuck who the fuck you are. See this guy drop a fucking card, and it's like, fuck off, dude. Fuck off. I've seen your strings, and I've seen your fucking stupid CGI. A pocket of gravity? Why are you not scared of slamming into the fucking wall all the time, then? What? How do you know where the pocket? How can you be talking for 30 fucking seconds and still be there when you're moving at 17,000 plus miles fucking hour?
And why does the pocket of gravity only affect the playing card? Why does it only affect the card and nothing else in the entire shuttle?
Because it's a pocket.
By the way, that Uyghur researcher's name is Adrian Zenz, and if you look at his research, he does like a bunch of math to prove like that there are forced hysterectomies. But if you actually like look at the math, like according to his math, there'd be like twice the amount of Uyghur women who exist that actually do. So, if you look into this guy's stuff, and this guy
what's his name again?
Adrian Zenz. And like he's literally wrote a book, and he's a German evangelical. He's literally wrote a book about how Jews are gonna like burn in an oven in God's fiery furnace. Those were the exact words.
All right.
So he's not exactly a stable character. But my only point here is that
does he have specs for this? For the furnace? Like, is it a thing that like
I don't know how many cookies fit in this furnace?
Right. No, I don't know.
That's fucking crazy.
There's a lot of variables.
All right, guys. It's 1:15 over here on the West Coast. It's
on the West Coast. It's 1:15.
Oh, damn, you ran over.
On the West Coast,
I missed critical hour.
On the East Coast, I can't. 1:15. It's time to wrap it up. Let everybody know where they can find you, Rantcast, my man, and then we'll go to Rubenstein, and then we'll finish up, and then producer love, and we'll, do our thing. Yeah. And by the way, look at that shirt.
My shirt, my money shirt, my Zelensky shirt. It's money. Awesome. You can go to rainoutRantcast.com/store.
I like
and
that.
Check out the shirts. I think my Juicy Smollett, I'm Not Suicidal is up now. Check that out. All my links are on there. Just scroll to the bottom on the homepage. Click on a badge. It'll take you where you need to go. Go subscribe to my Rumble. Subscribe to Shepard Ambellis' Rumble too, because we run there every night, 7:00 p.m. Central. We run a live, and we've been now the lives booted off.
So say no YouTube
again, but I think it's permanent now. The live part is finally gone, which I keep tagging Rumble. Rumble and StreamYard need to get together so we can fucking display the comments and stuff that are scrolling from Rumble onto the StreamYard, onto the live stream. They gotta make a fucking baby together. But yeah, go to rainoutRantcast.com. You hit the ATN.live. All the lives are playing there at 7 p.m. usually, and then my show is 7 p.m. Sunday nights. It's a 2-hour show. I do basically, I rant.
Go to his Twitter, guys. He's got some really good clips.
Oh yeah, and go to the Twitter. If you go to the Rumble, I have the no blood, no bullets thing with the breakdown on the guns, and if you go to the Twitter, it goes fucking. I can't believe I wasted my time on this.
No waste of time. Yeah. Good work, Ben. What you
got? So I don't have any shows to plug, but follow me at Ben F. Rubenstein on Twitter, and follow African Stream on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We're getting a Telegram and Reddit started, so definitely check that out. So hopefully you'll be seeing more of me soon.
If you want to go down to Nicaragua and kick it with him, you can. Steve, happy birthday, my man.
At least for the next month.
At least for the next month. Happy birthday, brother. You got anything else going on? You kicking it with Dr. Wilmer and Garland today? Is there a little panel?
Yeah, I will be on the critical hour with Garland and Wilmer, Dr. Jim Kavanaugh, that'll air 7 or 7:30 on the East Coast, and then subtract 3 for the West Coast. Those Friday panels are always fun. Really like those fellas. Will maybe wander down to the South Point if my kids are crashed out by like midnight 30. Drop in on the show there. Smash Brothers headlining apparently. Ryan Long is in town. Again, if you're out and about in Vegas tomorrow, go to Wise Guys. I think there's still tickets. They're hella cheap. And that'll be fun as hell.
Yeah.
Slow News Day Sunday
Yeah.
is Corey Morningstar Sunday. She is going to oh man, the Sisyphutan task of explaining to lefties why yes that's what it's trying to explain to lefties why the World Economic Forum and environmental NGO groups are bad for them. Feels like.
Oh, I could get into that, man.
I mean, you just
Yeah. You'll love to pass that information on. We'll clip that and we'll put it in our anti-imperialist chat. That would be awesome.
So Corey's going to be doing that Sunday on Slow News Day, and yeah, really looking forward to that. Huge shout out to Big Frog, the people who do our merch. The Norm Macdonald stuff is fantastic. It is, but so is all the stuff that you can get over there. And I'm very grateful that Ryan, the guy who does the shop, was like, hey, why don't I send you one of Scott's hats, and why don't I send Scott one of your hats, and you can cross promote each other's stuff on your shows. So thank you.
I was thinking we should do like a mug switch.
Ooh, we could do that. They're not our mugs; they were gift mugs, but we'll mug it up somewhere. It's a separate
That's an offer
thing
to
from
any
the
show. If you want to do a mug swap,
Mug
I'll
swap.
Send you a mug. Send me a mug.
All right.
Right here. Check it out.
I actually have one that says "Fellow Traveler" right here. I could swap with you because I do.
I
have
got mine says "Funky."
I'm gonna do the Bratty Villains. I don't know if anybody's seen my Bratty Villains. I'm gonna do a series of those and coffee mugs.
Heck yeah.
Got a combo couch in about 40 minutes. That's going on. So gone over, hang out with me and Fee. And yeah, that's that for now. And that's it for me for today. So happy birthday to Steve. I don't know if we had any more raises.
Yeah, let me get to that real quick. And thank you. And thank you for everyone who sent some birthday love. Bad Andy, great show. Love when Rance is on. Also, Steve, we're 3 days apart in age. He's 45 on the 4th. Well, happy birthday. And we'll make sure that
I'm 41 on the 10th.
All right.
I forgot about that.
All right. Wow. Gene
Wait, you're turning 40.
Zyback.
My mother's birthday is on the 10th.
Is it? I had a
Yeah.
girlfriend. Her birthday was on the 10th. It's weird. Not really, but it was easy. You know, but anyway, sorry.
Gene Zyback says, thank you, Gene. Denver Adaway says, well said, Steve. I'm not sure what that's in reference to, but thank you. I appreciate it. And that's going to do it. Yeah, that's going to do it. Thanks again, everybody, for hanging out, for pulling up, being a part of the show. Everyone who's a producer, we love you. We cannot do it without you. The most important thing you could always do, ever do, share the content, tell people about the thing. We're going to start with have a bunch of stickers coming through. We're going to be able to start doing some giveaway, kick down stuff, things like that.
Yeah.
Help spread the love around a little bit. Really do hope if you can make it to Tennessee this summer, hang out for the Rebels with Cause thing. People are still getting added to that. Tickets are going. They're going relatively quickly. You might get in on it if you want to. The likelihood of us getting into a bigger venue, probably, I don't know. I mean, the more interest it gets, the more opportunity we have to stretch it out a little bit, be able to make it a little bit more fun. Or then there's always next year, assuming we still have a country, an economy, a planet. Who knows? Who knows?
That's true.
Um,
Yeah.
But I think we're gonna be okay for the rest of the day. I do.
Will we make it till next
Fingers
year?
crossed.
Right. Toes crossed too. All right, you guys rock. We'll see you soon.
All
Good
right.
luck to us all.
Thanks for having me.
Man,
Take
You got
care.
it.
meet you, man.
Thanks, Chris.
I'm gonna check out that Adrian's End too. Oh shit. All right.
Do that. Yeah.